Hi guys, this is Lutin and we're back here on Oman. Now you all have noticed that on Thought for the Day this was the round we actually played, and I wanted to show the full version of it. However, it was about 40 minutes long and it really was unnecessarily long. There was a lot of stuff that was just irrelevant, lots of running around in the open, and you know, sections where the base just went very poorly. We were just trying to take things, it just got destroyed again. Look at this thing. What the hell was that? Yeah, so I've actually edited this down. You guys know I don't do that very often, but to be honest, I just didn't really feel like uploading a 40-minute Oman video with very little to actually, you know, there's not a lot of point, and I try to always have a bit of purpose for uploading stuff. I don't really like to just upload for the sake of uploading, mainly because it takes ages to export as well, and the shorter I can keep things, it means the more I can make, which means the more videos I can put up for you guys. So that's the main reason why I've edited stuff down. I think on some of these longer rounds as well, I might try and do that a bit more. If I can, you know, if I get a half-hour round, if I can cut 10 minutes out of it, you know, that helps it out. And often a lot of it is just kind of, you know, random gunplay and stuff, which doesn't have you know, an overall significant impact on the round. So you can see that we didn't start off particularly strongly. The teams are even, and it was a fairly typical Oman. If you look at the bases getting capped up, look, okay, we've lost A, and we were trying to take C, but we didn't really have enough support for that, and they've pushed down to B. So we've lost now at this point all the bases. I was just picking up one of these craft to run in. Look at the distance you have to cover from the US side as well. I mean, this is one thing on Oman, it's very, very one-sided. The Russian team, you know, they spawn within driving distance of the base. They can literally just run up the road and they're straight on to sea. We have to look at the distance you have to cover. I mean, I know you have the helicopter, which is great, you know, the transport helicopter, which is very, very good. But if that gets taken down, you know, you've only got this basically to get in by. And you can see right now I'm on A, I have no support whatsoever. I can see Funk is over there at C trying to do something, and our team seem to be capping D. But there's not that many people over there out of the whole round, and this is another point that I've made before on many videos when we've been talking about how air support in console can really affect play on the ground. We don't have enough people on the ground here. I'm trying my best to take this down. I've got one person with me now, I've got JGD. And the other problem is that obviously when a map is fully occupied by the enemy, having difficulty finding my target there. When a map is fully occupied, it's very difficult to take bases back, mainly because if you start attacking a base like I was right there, okay, even though I managed to clear it initially, they will then put pressure very, very hard. Now you can see we're trying to take back 3 bases at the same time here. That is a really good thing to do, because I was just changing my chat over to team, as people keep telling me to. It's a good thing if you can cap multiple bases, because that will make it more difficult for the enemy. And you can see, look, we're managing to cap back C and D. If you do split bases, that's going to help you because they won't know where to focus their attention. But if you always are going for one target, it's going to be it's going to be very easy for them to take that back. Okay, now we come in a little bit later on. Now you can see the point difference again. We're still down by a good 100. I wanted to put this section in here. It's not terribly exciting, but I'm using my mouse, and this is the tank, and some people, you know, I've said before about how vehicles aren't very good, but I just thought I would put this in here to kind of illustrate what kind of gameplay you can get from it. And the thing is, when you're in vehicles and so on, tanks and on the ground vehicles, they work a little bit better with the mouse combo. That's because it's not so often that you have to do like 360 sweeps, and that's where you really get stuck with it. If you're just doing these kind of, you know, your front arc movement, you can get on quite well, but when you start having to do sort of full turnarounds, and that can be in air vehicles, that's where you have the issues. Okay, so we're using the tank now. Now look, you can see the bases have turned right around now. We've really put a lot of pressure back on, and that's simply because, you know, we were attacking multiple bases at the same time. We were moving our troops around, and we were putting the pressure on where it needed to be. We were hitting one base and then moving in fast succession onto the next. If you notice at the beginning of the round, what was happening was we were targeting one base, no one was really focusing on much, and also we had a lot of people in the air. You'll notice our air support, it kind of went downhill, mainly because we got people on the ground. And once we got people on the ground and we were targeting some of their stuff, their helicopter for example, it was much easier for us to kind of get into these bases and take the game back. However, we are still many tickets down. I'm getting attacked probably by the chopper here. I can't actually see. Oh no, I think they had... Oh no, it was a different round. I thought they had a SOFLAM on a building, but that was a different round, which I will also post up. Or I'll post sections, perhaps, anyway. Yeah, here we are. It's the helicopter. So you can see they've now fallen into the trap that we were doing initially, which is they're trying to take only one base back. Trying to take one base is always going to be a really tricky thing, and it's difficult because if you're in a game, you really are reliant on your team to take the initiative to go and attack a different section of the map, because when they're in, like, you see they've got multiple vehicles on the same base, it would make much more sense for them to cap that base half, like 50%, and then send the LAV off to B or to D. You can see they are actually starting to cap D now. And they've got this tank, and I also spotted this multiple infantry up here moving up. You can see now they're taking A and D as well. So they're doing what we were saying, they're spread out and they're taking multiple bases, and that is what's going to unnerve it. You can see the ticket count has really pulled back here. Bit of a fail for me, that last hit should have connected. I like how my gun goes off, look. I don't think actually that was my gun firing, I think it was the tank blowing up, but yeah, always important to get quicker. You can see as well, I took a beating. I'm down on 5 and 10 here because that section before, it was just a lot of running up to bases, dying, running up to bases, dying, running up to bases, dying. And, you know, sometimes that's how these things are, because I was having very poor support. I was just running towards an objective, maybe have one person. As soon as I would get there, they would put all their pressure onto it. Get out of my way! So that is the kind of games you can expect when you're in these kind of dominated positions. But when you can turn it around, it's, you know, when you're in a stronger position, it's much easier to sort of take your time and focus forward. But when you're in a panicked situation, when you're really rushing to try and get things done, it's much more difficult. The tank kind of slid in there. Did you see that? He kind of skidded in and managed to miss our mines. I was trying to set off the mines as well. I think I put a grenade out probably because someone was mentioning this before. Come on, come on. Oh, he's disabled anyway. Yeah, there we go. And you can see how they've pushed forward, but we're capping bases back. And this kind of fluidity, when you get in a spawn trap situation, it's really important to actually try and take control of the game back again. This is, you know, what I mean by that is, I mean, if you're spawn trapped, it's important that you push forward fast, you use the speed and momentum to break out of that situation. You need to break out. You need to show as well the rest of your team that you have the ability to even get to those bases, because if they can see C is starting to get capped, like I often say, I'll be like trying to take, I hate these goddamn rails, seriously, it's so irritating. I was going to put this on another video as well. I was just driving along straight, hit those rails, bam, it just thrashed. Look at this, what the hell. I was just kind of getting annoyed now. I was just like, ah. But yeah, just showing people that you can start to take those bases back is really important. Just ignore my driving today, please. I had such a good driving round on another one, but yeah, this was not going too well. But once you can start capping at least one base, or even if you get it neutralized, okay, just neutralizing it, it will show the rest of your team that you can actually take the bases, and hopefully that will give them enough morale to want to push forward and take these things back. But if someone's getting constantly spawn trapped, they'd just give up and think, what is the point? But the interesting thing was that with this round specifically, you notice that we got spawn trapped, okay, and then once we started to take control of the bases back again, once we actually were putting the initiative and the objective on, you can see Airborne camping up here, but I picked him off. Once we take control of this game, people actually leave. They lost a couple of players initially, like they lost 1 or 2 guys when we sort of started getting, when we actually took the points back, they could see that they weren't going to win easily. And you can see that we're still actually down on points, so they're still fighting hard, they've still got a lot of players in the game, and they're really playing hard for the objective. But once we cap 4 bases, and we hold those 4 bases, and we actually get a lead, I mean, you can see right now even, we're points behind, we're a good 60 points behind probably. But notice soon, when we actually cap all the bases, they lose a couple of players initially, and then when I check the point score later, they've lost nearly all their team bar 1 squad. And I find this is just crap, to be honest. I mean, it's like people can take it but they can't dish it out. As someone said to me that, oh, on Oman you can get kicked from the game, blah blah blah. To be honest, right, that happens in many rounds. It's not specific to Oman. Everyone gets game freezes from time to time. That is not what I think happened here, because you know, usually when that happens, it will happen for both teams, not for one team. Because I've been in rounds before where you get a game freeze and it comes back. When I turn my PS3 back on, I come back in the game, suddenly I say, guys, what happened? And they're like, oh yeah, we got kicked. So I rejoin the round. Both teams lose players. If you get in a game freezing round, it should happen sort of across the board, because I think it's a server based thing. It's not like one team only, and that's why I say I don't really believe that's what happened in this round. I believe the guys actually quit out of the game because our team doesn't lose any players. We maintain our whole team, so I don't think that's what happened specifically right here. So you can see now much more kind of intent. Come on, no. Oh no. It's a much more kind of intense combat. Everyone's really fighting for it, and that's kind of great. This is more what you want. Also, I do have another Oman, and we're closing the gap, but we're still 50 points down. So it's a good full-on combat right now. But it just smirks of kind of smirks. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but it's basically, it just seems like hypocrisy to be spawn camping another team, and then when they turn it around on you, you just go, oh, this is crap, and quit out. What the hell is that? Honestly, people should have more bloody, you know, honor in game and actually fight. You know, it annoys the hell out of me. If I join a round and it's being horrifically spawn trapped, yeah, I'll just go, oh, this isn't even worth me playing. But if I've been in a round and they get pushed back, I will, you know, 90% of the time complete the round, because I think that you should. You know, if you're in a game, you should fight hard. And yeah, it's annoying as hell if your teams suck, but you should always try and better yourself, and you're going to get in these situations. I've often had messages from enemy teams, like when my entire team quit out because they're getting trapped and they can't play, I will still stay till the end of the round, because, you know, I just figure this is the round and I should complete that round, because, you know, whether people like it or not, alright, when you're in a round, you need an enemy to fight against, and sometimes you're going to lose, sometimes you're going to win, and people know, right, when I'm in game, I get pissed off. Yeah, I do. I rage a bit when I'm in game, and funny enough, when I played WoW, my character name was Rhaegar, and my guys used to call me Rager because I used to rage in games. I'm generally quite a calm person, but what I can't stand is seeing people play with no common sense whatsoever, and that's usually when I get annoyed. So when I'm playing on my server, sometimes I'll be like, guys, I'm at C, and I can see that there's like a huge people camped at B or at A, and, you know, there's no reason for them to not be up with me. Or, you know, on rush, when a base moves forward, I'll often be like, guys, I'm at the objective, where are you? They haven't even left the base yet. I'm just like, oh god, and you know, seriously. So that's often the times when I get annoyed. If everyone's playing hard for the objective, if they're all having a good fight like this, yeah, it's cool, you know, it's fine, you just get on with the round. But yeah, I have a real lack of respect for people who just give up automatically and just go, oh, what's the point? I just think that's a poor way to play. But now look at the round. We have turned it around. We've turned it around by cooperative gameplay, by spreading out around the map, by not focusing too hard on one thing, and now it allows us to sort of, you know, better control. We've held it up. Little tip here: don't jump out of your vehicle if it's still moving, because I'm pretty sure that's what took me down right here. Despite the inequalities of this map that I've mentioned before, I actually still really like Oman. I like it because it has really good kind of split levels. You know, it has the roads up on high and the highway going across. I like the dynamic of this map, as I've said before. I think it is tendent to spawn camp a little, but as I will show, I've got another video coming up, probably today, tomorrow, whenever, but it highlights something quite unusual, and I want to show. And it's my server, and we were playing with my team, but something that very rarely happens, and I've been saying to guys more and more when we play Conquest maps, alright, if the other team is getting, you know, given a really hard time and they're struggling to cap a base, or they've only got, you know, one, I said to my guys, I said, don't cap it, leave that last base, leave them with one, because it makes better gameplay for you, it makes better gameplay for them, and also, as I said to my guys, it's also a bit of a psychological thing. If you cap all the bases in a round, okay, a lot of the people are going to be thinking there's no point playing. there's just no point going on, they're dominating us, we can't win, we don't have a chance. They'll think they have no chance to win. And this used to happen to me. Again, I'm going to use WoW as an example because I played it so much and I've had so many experiences in that game to compare. And when we used to play WoW, we used to play Arathi, as I've mentioned before, and that's, it's Conquest, basically. But my PvP team for WoW, we were so good, and that's not a big-headed statement, it's just a fact. Our team were very, very good. We were one of the top teams. We were so good that we almost couldn't get a game sometimes. We would spend, they would see our names, the guys who would play regularly, and just quit before the round had even begun. And not only that, but when we would dominate, people would just leave the round automatically straight after we played them. So we couldn't get round after round of gameplay. This will happen in Battlefield. If you dominate your team to the point where you push them right back and they can't even leave, they can't even get in the action, right? They're not going to want to play. They're not going to want to play on your server, they're not going to want to play with you. So they will just leave the round. And you'll see that's pretty much what happens on this base, is when we get to the end of the map, as I've said, they all just leave because they think they don't have a chance. If you leave one base, those people will stay usually in the round. You might lose a few people, but they have a much better chance of maintaining the kind of consistent gameplay where you go on round to round. But if you just dominate the other team constantly, they're going to just automatically give up. And to be honest, right, I would agree. If you're in a round and you just get dominated every single time, you can't even play. Why would you want to stay on that server? You just think, okay, my team is incapable, so therefore I'm just going to go and get a better round. So it's better for you to do it, it's better for your team to do it, it's better for everyone if you give them a bit of a chance. If you leave them one base, it gives them the opportunity to try and get a foot in the door and try and get some of those bases back. And it's also going to give you guys on the ground, it's going to give you some more action, it's going to give you actually people to fight against. It's going to give a bit more of a dynamic in the game. It's going to be more exciting because, let's face it, there's nothing more boring than having an enemy which won't get into the action because they're getting spawn trapped all the time. I hate games like that because I'm always stuck between a rock and a hard place on those games, because if people are spawn camping or they can't get out of their spawn, I'm stuck because I don't like to leave the objectives. Like if it's Rush, I don't like to leave the MCOMs. If it's Conquest, I don't like to leave the bases, because I know that the second I do and the second I push up and I start actually going for the kills, what will happen is one team will flank, they'll cap it all, and we'll lose the round. It's happened to me so often. I'm always stuck in this bloody situation because if I push forward, I guarantee no one else on my team will be watching anything, and therefore they'll push around us, then they'll gain some momentum and they win. It's happened to me so many times. It's like I'm incapable of being allowed to go for the kills because it just happens every time. But if we're in a round where everyone's playing well and they're kind of fighting off against each other, you get more action and everyone gets a better slice of the pie, rather than the three guys who have selfishly pushed right up and are focusing on sort of kill whoring throughout, which, to be honest, nobody really has any respect for that, do they? So you can see right now we're capping all the bases back, and it's not something that particularly, like I've said already, I don't think it's a good thing to do. However, in this round, because they trapped us so hard at the beginning of the map, it was beyond a joke. And when we got to this stage in the game, we were like, seriously, screw you guys, we're going to hold these bases and you'd be damned if we're giving them up to you. So it was a bit of a no mercy situation. When someone's pissed you off in a round like that right at the beginning, you don't want to give them a chance. You don't want to give them a chance at all. Oh, I was so sure I was going to hit it that time. So yeah, there's not much more left to really say about this round. We capped up the bases, we turned the game around. I was really pleased with, my team actually turned it around. And it's a bit difficult to see from this gameplay. It's a bit, oh yeah, this was epic. Look at the jet falling. You just see the shadow. Oh, Battlefield is so good. But yeah, it's a bit difficult to see really from just the video, but if you were in the round you would feel a lot more of how the game went. And from talking with the people on the ground, communicating, I could hear what was going on, and I know that from playing this round, my guys initially were having they were having difficulty really feeling where to move, where to attack, etc. But then as we progressed on, we got to the middle section of the game. Everyone was having a much better time, they were really pushing forward, and the enemy haven't given up. Like, they're still trying to cap D, the guys who have actually stayed and bothered to try and finish the game for their team. but it was a good turnaround, and it's nice to be in a game where you feel like your team have actually thought about what's going on in the game. They've actually thought, yeah, you know, we need to change this, we need to do this a bit differently, and the round has altered. Undoubtedly, when we got to this section in the game, our game was helped by the fact that people had started to leave, so not pretending that we suddenly became this 100% epic team who was in complete domination of the game, but our team genuinely did make a progression. They did focus on what they needed to do, they did look at what was going on, and the guys who were playing with me and some of the people on team chat were listening to me. They were moving to the places they need to be, and they were dealing with things as they needed to. And now we can see how many people have left. Initially we saw earlier on that there was only a couple people left. Now they've lost a good, 2/3 of their team. They've only got 5 players left, and noticeably some of the guys who have stayed are guys in my clan, because I know that the guys in my clan will stay just out of respect for the team that they're playing against. They'll, in a similar way that I would. So I'm going to finish up here really, guys. You've seen the end of this bit already, but I think this just shows what a good turnaround can happen, and I think it also shows the kind of general demeanour of players at the moment, where they won't even stay to the end of the round. They won't take it. They can't take, they can hand it out, but they can't take it. Thanks for watching.